Hi, my name is Winona Sinenko. I am 30 years old and I am an elementary school teacher. Got my education at the University of Saskatchewan and I am also currently a grad student.
My name's Shane Partridge. I'm 40 years old. I'm from Saskatoon. I work in construction, specifically occupational health and safety.
Hello, my name is Trina Kingfisher and I'm from Sturgeon Lake First Nations. Grew up in Prince Albert and live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan currently. I have 4 children ranging between 16 and 23. My grandparents raised me. They were doing really well raising me. I had everything, like warm roof over my head, really nice clothes, fantastic birthdays, Christmases, food on the table 3 times a day. I was doing really well in school.
I was about 2 years old, 3 years old, and my parents, they drank quite frequently and they would always have friends over, and I was always a little kid wanting to belong, and they would just give me alcohol in a sippy cup, and I thought that it was cool. I grew up with a lot of physical abuse and mental and emotional abuse that went with that as well.
I grew up in a broken home. My dad used to physically abuse my mom, and it came to a point where we had to run away in the middle of the night. There was plenty of times where my brother and I slept in the alleys behind bars, waiting for our mom, scared, hiding under a blanket several times because there's scary people all around you, just waiting. And then going to school just a few hours later. There was also sexual abuse in my childhood. Like, I can deal with the abuses and the drugs and the alcohol that were in my home, but there's something about sexual abuse that just kind of breaks a person in a certain way.
I didn't understand why my mother wasn't in my life. My parents had a very rocky relationship. I reconnected with her when I was 9 years old. I think it was the second, it may have even been the first visit, that my mother had told me that my father wasn't my real father. Your dad is not your real dad. And in that moment, it was like my whole world just did a flip. And my whole world was changed upside down. I felt like I had no right to be here. And I felt like I didn't deserve to be there. I slowly started acting out. There was just so much going on. And along with that too, there was some sexual abuse going on.
I was always taught sort of that violence was the way to get attention, to get my way, be heard. I was in kindergarten being bullied, and I was told flat out, when the kid comes down the slide, kick him in the face. I did that. I was about 8 years old. I had my first 6-pack of beer bought for me. From 8 through till 9, 10, 11, I started stealing alcohol and cigarettes and stuff from my parents. 11 years old was the first time that I tried committing suicide, and I had tried stabbing myself in the chest. 12 years old, I tried hanging myself in my parents' camper. You know, I've tried reflecting back on that lots, and I think I was just lost. I don't know if I was thinking anything except that I just wanted out. I just didn't like my life.
It finally hit me when I was in grade 9 or grade 10, I think. And I had found a bottle of medication on my mom's, and I didn't find it, I know exactly where it was. And I made the choice to take the whole bottle. I cried, but I did the whole bottle. It was determined. I was determined that I wasn't going to be sad anymore, and I made the choice to do it. Thank God it didn't work.
My drinking and drug use just spiraled so out of control. I was having seizures, 4 or 5 seizures a day. I was 16, my violence and my drug and alcohol use had gotten really out of control, and I ended up getting charged with attempted murder. With the seizures and stuff, I was drinking over 40 beer a day. I ended up developing esophageal hemorrhaging, and my throat and my nose and my sinus cavities, everything, my stomach was all bleeding, and I ended up getting rushed to the hospital and having a blood transfusion and having to stay in the hospital. That's when the first time somebody in my life told me, Shane, this isn't cool, this isn't right, and you're gonna die.
I started self-destructing. It was the only way I knew how to cope with my feelings, but when I started doing that, especially with alcohol, I would crash and everything would become way worse. Everything, all of my feelings, all of my thoughts would become amplified a million times more. And being 15 years old, trying to handle alcohol, it was horrible. I ended up getting pregnant and lost the baby, miscarried, and I didn't understand about that neither. Went somewhere really, really dark. But then I ran into another friend and let her move in. She didn't have anywhere to live. She moved in with me, and the good didn't last very long. She was living a different kind of lifestyle I didn't understand. And I got involved in prostitution. I found out I was pregnant. My very, very first serious suicide attempt.
Like, I have a wife and 3 stepkids. I loved them, right? And they had been with me through all this dysfunction. I didn't deserve the mixed up mess that I was, and they didn't deserve to have to deal with that. I wanted to live, right? I didn't want to die. I was scared, I was sick, I was angry. I had planned a suicide out. I had found this old abandoned barn and I had set up this noose, and I had for a month really looked at places where I could go and hide my vehicle so that nobody would find me. That was one of my fears. I was not afraid of dying, of committing a suicide. I was afraid of my family finding me and being hurt.
Seeing the fallout, being at funerals, hearing the cries and the heartbreak of the families left behind. I don't want to put my kids through that.
I fell asleep for a really long time, and I woke up and I was so thankful that I was here. And that was kind of like the point where I was like, that wasn't okay. I can't believe I did that. Like, I am so much better than that. And I made a choice from then on in that I wasn't going to let this negativity be who I was. I was going to be something different.
And so I made a decision. I needed to get out of this life and I needed to leave. So exercise and journal writing, those were my coping skills. I was introduced to talking circles. I was introduced to the drum. I was introduced to just my culture. I go through these downs, but I always manage to come up, and it's through prayer, and it's through journal writing, it's through talking with people, it's being honest about what's going on inside.
I survived sexual abuse. You heal a little bit more every time you say that out loud. My older brother always told me, and maybe my older brother is the wise one, when we were hiding under blankets in the backseat of cars, or when we were, locked in a bedroom during a party, when we were walking the streets late at night, he always told me that the life we have is not the life we have to live. We can be better than what we have.
I started phoning everybody and anybody I could in the phone book, to the point where I knew when people would hear my messages because I could leave another one, and I would fill up their mailbox, and I would keep that mailbox full until finally somebody got a hold of me and said, look, you need to talk with Straight Up. Phone Stan from Straight Up. And he said, you stick it out in detox. And he said, when you're out of detox, call me and we'll meet up for coffee. I thought that I was bad news, I thought I was this bad dude, and I had been involved pretty deeply with gangs, and he just kind of was laughing at me. And he said, is that it?
The strength comes from the inside. So we decided to rise above that as siblings. He is a university graduate going for his master's in clothes design. I am a university graduate going for my master's in administration, and it's only because we knew at such a young age, and I don't know who gave that to us, but we knew at such a young age that we didn't have to live in this world. What we forget is that we have to first empower our kids with the confidence to go and tell their story. Social media is great and fun and entertaining, but it also paints an acceptable form of life that not everyone lives, and I truly don't believe anyone lives it. What happens behind closed doors is never what you see on Facebook. And so that I feel like when youth experience something that's not great and wonderful, something that's not Facebook worthy, that's shameful, because everyone else's life is so wonderful. This darkness that I'm experiencing, it's not okay. And even if there's a big yellow sign that says, don't be ashamed, come tell me, it comes from inside. That confidence comes from the inside.
I had finished my GED. I had finished my medical office assistant at Career Campus. I've gotten 2 years at First Nations University of Canada. And it's taken me this long to separate all of that. And I'm still on that journey. I'm still on that healing journey of reclaiming back my body and my boundaries and my nose. And there are helpers around us. Not everybody is out to hurt us. Not everybody is out to harm us. There are people out there who are willing to help.
If you're in a place surrounded by negativity, how do you know that there is positivity out there? You've survived 100% of your life so far, so what's the one more day? What's if you can survive all of that, why can't you survive tomorrow?
For once in my life, I felt like I wasn't abandoned, like people cared, With every day that I was sober after that, I started finding things that I liked. I started finding things I was good at. I started finding, people didn't mind me. I made new friends, and I thought, this was awesome.